Now what I'd like you to do is read drama starting on page 362 and continue all the way to page 368 near the bottom where it says tragedy. Take about 10 minutes to do this. Okay, welcome back. Now I want you to follow with me on the page, on the bottom of page 368 under the word tragedy. Read along with me. The term tragedy, when used to define a play, has historically meant something very precise, not simply a drama which ends with unfortunate consequences. This definition originated with Aristotle, who insisted that the play be an imitation of complex actions which should arouse an emotional response combining fear and pity. Aristotle believed that only a certain kind of plot could generate such a powerful reaction. Comedy, as we have seen, shows us a progression from adversity to prosperity. Tragedy must show the reverse. Moreover, this progression must be experienced by a certain kind of character, says Aristotle, someone who we can designate as the tragic hero. This central figure must be basically good and noble. Good because we will not be aroused to fear and pity over the misfortunes of a villain, and noble both by social position and moral stature, because the fall to misfortune would not otherwise be great enough for tragic impact. These virtues do not make the tragic hero perfect, however, for he must also possess hamartia, a tragic flaw, the weakness which leads him to make an error in judgment which initiates the reversal in his fortunes, causing his death or the death of others or both. These dire consequences become the hero's catastrophe. The most common tragic flaw is hubris, an excessive pride that adversely influences the protagonist's judgment. Often the catastrophic consequences involve an entire nation because the tragic hero's social rank carries great responsibilities. Witnessing these events produces the emotional reaction Aristotle believed the audience should experience, the catharsis. Although tragedy must arouse our pity for the tragic hero as he endures his catastrophe, and must frighten us as we witness the consequences of a flawed behavior which anyone could exhibit, there must also be a purgation, a cleansing of these emotions which should leave the audience feeling not depressed but relieved and almost elated. The assumption is that while the tragic hero endures a crushing reversal, somehow he is not thoroughly defeated as he gains new stature through suffering and the knowledge that comes with suffering. Classical tragedy insists that the universe is ordered. If truth or universal law is ignored, the results are devastating, causing the audience to react emotionally. Simultaneously, the tragic results prove the existence of truth, thereby reassuring our faith that existence is sensible. Sophocles' plays give us some of the clearest examples of Aristotle's definition of tragedy. Shakespeare's tragedies are more varied and more modern in their complexities. Othello is one of Shakespeare's most innovative and troublesome extensions of tragedy's boundaries. The title character commands the Venetian army and soon becomes acting governor of Cyprus. He is also a Moor, a dark-skinned African whose secret marriage to the beautiful Desdemona has infuriated her father, a wealthy and influential Venetian, whose anger reveals a racist element in Venice which Othello tries to ignore. Iago hates Othello for granting a promotion to Cassio, which Iago believes should rightfully be his. With unrelenting determination and malicious deception, Iago attempts to persuade Othello that Desdemona has committed adultery with Cassio. The following excerpt catches Iago in the early stages of his successful manipulation. Now, I'd like you to turn to page 369 and follow along at the bottom of the page as Robert and I portray Iago and Othello from Shakespeare's Othello play. I will be Iago, and Robert will be Othello. So listen closely. In Venice, they do let heaven see pranks. They dare not show their husbands. Their best conscience is not to leave it undone, but keep it unknown.
Dost thou say so?
She did deceive her father, marrying you. And when she seemed to shake and fear your looks, she loved them most.
And so she did.
Why go to then? She that so young could give out such a seeming to see her father's eyes up so close as oak. He thought 'twas witchcraft, but I am much to blame. I humbly do beseech you of your pardon, for too much loving you.
I am bound to thee forever.
I see. This hath a little dashed your spirit.
Not a jot, not a jot.
I faith, I fear it has. I hope you will consider what is spoke comes from my love, but I do see you're moved. I am to pray you not to strain my speech to grosser issues nor to larger reach than to suspicion.
I will not.
Should you do so, my lord, my speech should fall into such vile success as my thoughts aim not at. Cassio's my worthy friend, my lord, I see you're moved.
No, not much moved. I do not think but Desdemona's honest.
Long live she so, and long live you to think so.
And yet, how nature erring from itself.
Aye, there's the point, as to be bold with you, not to affect many proposed matches, of her own clime, complexion, and degree, whereto we see in all things nature tends. Foe, one may smell in such a will most rank. Foul disproportion, thoughts unnatural, but pardon me, I do not in position distinctively speak of her, though I may fear her will, recoiling to her better judgment, may fall to match you with her country forms, and happily repent.
Farewell, farewell. If more thou dost perceive, let me know more. Set on thy wife to observe. Leave me, Iago.
My lord, I take my leave.
Why did I marry this honest creature, doubtless, sees and knows more, much more, than he unfolds.
So, follow along with me on page 371, about the middle of the page, in that paragraph just below the word Othello. Notice that Iago speaks much more than Othello. This is typical of their conversations, as though Iago was the superior of the two. Dramatically, for Iago's scheme to compel our interest, we must perceive in Othello tragic proportions, both in his strengths and weaknesses. Otherwise, Othello would slip into a mean tale about a rogue and his dupe. Much of the tension in this scene stems from Othello's reluctance either to accept Iago's innuendos immediately or to dismiss them. This confusion places him on the rack of doubt, a torture made more severe because he questions his own desirability as a husband. Consequently, since Iago is not the honest creature he appears to be, and Othello is unwilling to confront openly his own self-doubts, Iago becomes the dominant personality, a situation which a flawless Othello would never tolerate.